Guys, welcome back to RBR and welcome to the ultimate rendition of the GT3 engine in the first ever RS drop top ever from Porsche. And to me, this thing is the closest thing us car guys can get to a motorcycle with four wheels and a shell. It is an incredibly visceral experience. And boy, is it just head and shoulders above the 4RS. This is my own Spyder RS, and today we're going to explore this car together in full. We're going to go over Porsche's drop-top motorsport history, but I'll break down exactly what makes this car before we come back on the road and drive it hard. So welcome to RBR. Let's explore the Spyder RS. Today's episode is brought to you once again by 70My and the next generation 360-degree dual brilliance dashcam, and that is the 4K Omni. This new 4K Omni redefines dashcams with 360-degree rotation and true 4K with 60 frames per second. This ensures that even small details like license plates remain sharp and visible while you're driving. This front camera is powered by Sony's IMX678 sensor, and it ensures vibrant low noise visuals even in low-lit or backlit conditions. The revolutionary 360 design means that you can use voice commands like capture left or capture right in order to capture scenic sights or family moments while you're driving. One of the coolest things is in parking mode that Omni uses AI motion detection in order to capture any suspicious activity happening around your car. Another feature is that the emergency recording will capture 10 seconds before and 20 seconds after any incident, just to ensure that no crucial evidence is missing. Additionally, it's 4G enabled, so you will get live streaming through the app. You'll also get instant alerts, and you'll be able to track the location of your car, and it'll give you live updates about your car's battery 24/7 as well, and keep you informed of your vehicle status at all times. In terms of storage, it supports up to 512 GB microSD in here, and it's got Wi-Fi 6, so you will be able to transfer from the camera directly into your phone very easily. It's easy to set up, and the design is innovative and it's engineered for performance. And it's so important these days to have a high quality dash cam. There's always accidents happening. It's great to have a reliable and high performing dash cam with you at all times. And of course, as an RBR viewer, you get a great discount. Use the link in the description below. A huge thanks to 70My for supporting our episodes, and to you guys for always supporting our regular sponsors. Let's head back to the car. So my friends, the last ever small mid-engined internal combustion engine car from Porsche. And that's actually quite a depressing thought, as awesome as this car is. And for me, it's more depressing knowing that the origins of Porsche itself started just with a car like this, with the 356, way back in the day of Ferdinand Porsche and his son. This was an incredible car back then, that then led on to the 550 Spyder, the first Spyder of its name, 590 odd kg of racing heritage. It won its first ever race at the Nürburgring, then it went on to win Targa Florio, Le Mans, Carrera Panamericana. You know, so much history riding on this particular form. And then, you know what, it even then linked on to cars like the incredible Carrera GT with its V10 engine, the same type of concept of motorsport linked to open air driving. Then the 918 Spyder, of course, part of that wonderful Spyder history with its ahead of its time hybrid system and that V8. And now this, the 718 Spyder RS, the last of its kind. And it's truly a moment just to sit back and think, how good have we had it? Now, of course, this actual series of car had such humble beginnings when we first saw the Boxster concept unveiled all those years ago, and we've had so many iterations since, leading to our current 718 generation. But this is the first ever RS drop top as well, which means Weissach have put a lot of love into this, particularly considering the fact that this is now going to be such a rare thing going forward. And what more love can you put into a car like this than to give it the basis and the internals of one of the best RS cars ever made, which was the GT4 RS, of course, a car that we all love. So we start with the best possible start, the GT3 naturally aspirated flat six engine that finds its way, of course, into the Spyder RS as well, revving all the way to 9,000. It's a peach of an engine, still the same power, 500 PS coming out of this, an impressive 0 to 60 of 3.4 seconds. Luckily, I can show you it with VFX because it's really quite packaged well in here, so you can't see it as an owner, but that is what it looks like. And it's an impressive engine. Sprint to 124 is 10.9, but the figure that really amazes me is the weight. Only 1410 kg. That makes it like 5 kg lighter than the 4RS, which is already light, 40 kg lighter than the normal Spyder, 116 kg lighter than the PDK 992 GT3. This is a light car, and 500 PS in a light car, well, you'll see in a minute just how thunderous it is. Now the PDK is great. It's short, ratioed, so you enjoy a lot of gear shifts, as you'll see later. Why not manual? Interesting question. It's part of a packaging issue, I think mainly. First of all, RS heritage and RS rules. You're always PDK because it's quicker, and that's what RS does in all their models. But the actual packaging was difficult because the gearbox is actually longer, and the way that this car is packaged, it would have pushed out too far, and there was packaging issues in the front, in the cockpit as well. So it simply just wasn't possible given the fact that we wanted to have that naturally aspirated engine in the car as well. Now the rest in terms of suspension, ride height, camber, all of this is adjustable just like a real RS car. But what you'll find is that the standard setup, the way they've done it, is really to differentiate it to 4RS, to make it more of a usable daily car. And as you'll see later, that makes it actually a so much more livable car than the 4RS is in reality. Now there's a few other changes versus 4RS which are quite important, and they're mainly to do with downforce aerodynamics. We've got a smaller, although similar shaped splitter on the front. We have then the ducktail at the rear as well to balance that out, and we have none of the strakes and aero flicks at the bottom and the underneath of the car as well. So all of that reduces the downforce and makes this, well, a different ride, as you will see later. One bit I love are the two NACA air ducts on the front that help cool the brakes without negatively affecting our aerodynamics. But more than that, they harken back so wonderfully to the 991 GT series, which I think this whole car does. Actually, the entire design really matches well with the 991 series of cars, which, what better than that? It looks like a drop-top 2RS from a lot of angles. Of course, weight has been saved, as we said, versus the standard Spyder, thanks to the carbon bonnet that you get in the Weissach package. You can get the magnesium wheels that save another 10 kg. I did not do that, but again, that'll bring the weight down. And that's why I really love the design. It's the fact that it really does just look like a shrunken down 2RS with no roof. I can't compliment it any more than that. You have the air outlets above our wheel arches, the NACA ducts, the XX style painted stripe that goes down the middle of our Weissach carbon bonnet, the big splitter on the front, all of this so reminiscent of 2RS. But then it's the side profile that looks incredible thanks to the ducktail spoiler. And then of course you've got the process air intakes finished in carbon in the Weissach package, and then the other air inlets on the side of our rear wheel arches that just finish things off so beautifully. Then when you get the Weissach package, you also get those wonderful titanium tips on the rear. The actual exhaust system remains the same, but you get those wonderful tips inspired by Porsche's racing series. And the rear looks great. It's that classic speedster look. Whether it's front, rear, side, up, down, bottom, it's just one of the best looking cars on the road. Now, really, the roof I want to show you, because the roof is a big talking point in this, how difficult it is to manage. It's not that bad. Let's talk about it. Now, as we get into the roof, the GT3 engine gave another challenge to the engineers here, and again, it was to do with packaging. Because the intake system is taller on the GT3 engine, we have less space just on top of that engine in order to store the traditional Spyder roof. So there was a big challenge to make what they call this sun sail thin enough to then be folded and fit in the back. The rear window is easy enough because it's really quite small, and I'll show you in a sec, but this was quite the feat of engineering. And I know this car is infamous in terms of it taking 3 days to take the roof off. And I promise you, it does not take 3 days. Once you get used to it as an owner, it's actually quite easy. And yet you still pretty much don't bother half the time. But I tell you what, on a beautiful sunny day like this, when you have an occasional use car like this, and you want to take it out for a drive. It's almost therapeutic taking this roof off, and you look like a rocket scientist doing it, so you look pretty cool as well. But it is quite good. Let me show you how to do it. It's not that difficult. So guys, as we begin, it's actually quite easy to understand. The big red tabs are a clue as to where you need to start. So this is your first point. You undo these on both sides, and this is honestly, undoing it and doing it up is the most satisfying sound. The way this is engineered, I absolutely adore it. So then you pop these off, which again, quite simple, and they come off on both sides. Then we push these back, and the next thing to do is actually open this up, and this opens. It's actually quite impressive when this opens up and you see how much space you actually still have inside this itty bitty Boxster. So now part of our roof is going to go stored in there, part of it will go in here in this nice little bag. So all of that is catered for. Shame you can't see the engine, but at RBR, luckily, I did show you. Now this is your rear window. That is actually optional. If you want more exhaust sound, you don't have to install it in. And this is actually really easy to take off. It's just a few tabs here. You pull these off, just like that. Then you unclip these off this bar here on both sides, and that is our window element completely removed now. So this bit now can fold up nicely and go in our little Porsche bag in the back. That leaves then the remainder of the roof. There's only a couple of steps left. One is this tensioner that you pull off. Now we can actually pull this off completely. But before we do that, there's one main part left in that keeps this part of the roof locked onto here that we're going to undo on the inside. And that bit is this almost Top Gun looking tab. It's quite a hard one. You have to really put some strength into it. You'll feel like you're going to break something, but you'll be okay. Pull that down and then this will release. Right guys, now I've undone that bit, and now this entire roof section can come off. And as you can see, one man, even an idiot like me, can manage it, but it is a bit of faff. Honestly, the biggest faff in the whole thing is trying to close this and fold it neatly enough that this deck actually closes. But once you get it, then it's not that difficult. Then it's just the satisfying closure of these two beautiful pieces. And that's it. Now it's a proper Spyder. And if you want to save a bit of weight, leave the roof home and you'll save about 8.5 kg. In an already super light car, do you need to do that? No, keep the roof with you. Now, my friends, enough talk. Let's jump in and drive this thing like it's meant to be driven. Now we've taken one Weissach cap off. I'm going to put my Weissach cap on because my hair was not built for this action. Now this is a very analog interior, right? And there's just some things in this that some of you younger bucks just won't understand what's going on, or why us older guys think this is cool. For example, this is called a car key. Now you might have seen something that looks like this, then you go and press a button. But in this older car, see that? That's called turning a key. And unlike you lot with your home appliance power buttons, plugging this little thing into here is better than sex. So that's one thing. Then the analog dials, which we absolutely love. It's like a nice watch, okay? And then you might laugh at this tiny screen over here as well. Well, guess what? In a sports car, it's much less distracting than having a gigantic thing glaring at your face. Another thing that Weissach did I'm so happy about is giving this series the PDK shifter that we find in the GT3 as well. And because we have to have PDK, this at least gives some of the excitement of sequentially shifting, which is a bit like the manual side of things. Otherwise, this is the Weissach interior, which looks great with the lightweight bucket seats, race text everywhere, all minimalistic. It's great. Enough talking. Let's go have some fun. Now you may think this car sounds good like this, with its 1-to-1 GT3 racing motorsport engine, but that's nothing. That's not what this car is about. Let me now show you what this car is really about. I mean, what more needs to be said? This engine does all the talking. I can hardly believe that this is a car that you can buy brand new in 2024. It's the most intense and exciting experience. I cannot put it into words, which is not great for someone who's meant to be able to do that, but what a car, what a car. Now, of course, as I said, this engine is pulled 1-1 from the GT3 Cup car with basically no change at all. And this iteration in the Spyder RS is the best sounding that you'll find ever. I mean, I can barely hear myself talk. I hope you can hear me. This thing is ridiculous. And this is so much of the experience. You know, it's not about setting a Nürburgring record like the 4RS. This is about enjoying all the emotive side of that same, the engine, the RS philosophy, but in this open top formula for the first time ever. And it works so well because of so many reasons. And it's not because of the drop top element only. It's because of how they've changed everything else. Let's talk about that. Now, the thing about this car is it's just so much more than just the drop top. It's the way that they've done the suspension. The front end just hooks up. You're able to put down the power in a much more confident way, much faster. And that's regardless of whether the fact you've got crappy roads or it's a bit damp. You know, these were things that would unsettle the 4RS because it was a proper track going RS. The relaxed nature really does suit the Spyder RS so much. And you would never feel that it's any worse handling. It's just, it's more usable, it's less jittery. And I really like it. And it's so different to 911, it feels a bit more, I don't want to say go-kart because that's not what it is. It's less sophisticated. It's more you know, it feels like the younger brother that doesn't want to do things in an as sophisticated way. It wants to be a bit of a rebel. It wants to be, like I said, a bit more of a motorbike. But I love that element. That's what, you know, a lot of people ask me, what is it like versus GT3? And it's just so different. They're two totally different products. And it really makes my GT3 feel like a base Carrera sometimes. I still think the GT3 just handles better. That shouldn't really be a surprise to you. This car just handles differently to that, and not in a bad way. This flavour is every bit enjoyable by itself as well. I'll tell you what, 500 PS has no business feeling this visceral. I'm not going to bother with a launch control. I don't think that's really important on a car like this, but it just feels so bloody quick, and half of that is the weight figure. You know, at only 1400 kg, it's so much power for such a light car. But then it's the Spyder RS's ability to put down that power on the road that makes it so impressive. Let's talk about sound then. The process air intakes, so famous, aren't they? You guys have heard of them. The sound that you get out of these is insane. And the cool thing is, let's say you knock off the exhaust, then you hear a bit more of the process air intake, which is quite cool. So either you can have a mixture of both, you know, a bit more exhaust mixed with the air intakes, or a mode with a bit more air intake, but it goes beyond that because you've got the ability to control the roof and the windows as well. And I'm going to pop the roof back on in a minute and we'll talk about the sound with the roof on, which you're going to be very happy about as well. First of all, let's talk about this engine and this gearbox combo. It's just a joy then, like I said, to use this to sequentially shift. Yeah, we haven't got the manual, but the shorter ratios plus this, or the paddles if you like, just make for such a nice experience. And this is why I keep complaining in other modern cars that we don't have stuff like this that could, you know, we're going towards hybrids and other things. You know, a bit more analog. Why not? Why can't we have it? Why are the Porsche the only ones really thinking about it? The shift speed of the PDK is already a legendary thing, right? You pair it though to the naturally aspirated GT3 engine, and the thing is, nothing delivers power like a naturally aspirated engine. the smoothness of delivery, the immediate delivery. It's a taste and a flavor that no other propulsion technology can match, ever. Particularly when you have an engine like this that revs all the way to 9,000, it's just a cherry on top of probably the world's most exciting engine. Now I want to show you guys what the sound is like, even when you have the roof closed. Now the sad fact is this, that 60 to 70% of my driving in this car ends up being with the roof on, but as you can see, all the sound is still there. That's with the windows closed. Then if you want, knock down the windows a little bit. And it does get very loud in here. And if you want even more sound, you don't have to install that rear window. You can just have the sun sail at the top, and then you'll get more exhaust sound. You're still getting the lovely process air intakes. Oh, the top of the red line. What a thing. So you can have the roof on, enjoy still all of the best parts of this car. I do miss the sky, and I've commented when a lot of people have asked me that when you take the roof off and you drive this thing, even on a motorway, it feels like a different car, a completely different experience. So in no way am I trying to say that, oh hang on, tunnel. So in no way am I trying to say that somehow the roof on experience is as good as the roof off. That's not the case, but you do get such a large amount of the enjoyment still, that if you live in a country like mine where it's wet and rainy most of the year, it's not like you're not going to enjoy this car. It still feels like an occasional car to me, particularly when I've got the GT3, and that feels so much more mature. And with the roof on, it feels like a motorcycle where I'm just holding an umbrella on top. You still do get a lot of road noise, despite the fit and finish all being really nice. You get a lot of road noise, you get a lot of wind noise. I don't mind that. You know, this is a car that's meant to be quite hardcore, and I'm not looking for, you know, incredible amounts of refinement from a car like this. It's absolutely fine as it is. So such an amazing car, even with the roof up. But with the roof off, it's just an experience I can't explain. Like I said, to me, you know, people like you and me, we love things like analog watches, we love fast cars, but we also love motorbikes, we also love jet fighters. It's the whole Top Gun thing, right? And this car to me is the closest that you or I could get to the motorbike, to the jet fighter, legally, on the road, in a new car. It makes me so happy, but it also makes me so sad, because all the things that we love about this car, the gear changing, the sound, the emotion, the nimbleness of the handling, surely none of that is going to be in the EV. Well, that's a topic for another day. This is the car to have. I'm so glad they made it. It brings a smile to my face. I hope it's brought one to yours as well. Isn't it amazing how far the little Boxster has come from Porsche's cheapest entry-level sports car to now the spiritual successor to things like the 550 Spyder, the Carrera GT and the 918 Spyder, and the first ever open roof RS. I'm so proud of this entry-level Porsche sports car series. A lot of people, of course, complained when this car came out that you'll never get allocation. As the market stands at the moment, I've never seen so many people who've never owned Porsches before getting allocation on both this car and the 4RS, and the market values are actually reflecting this in a big way, with 4RS coming out, at least in the UK, around about 130k. Spyder RS is sitting at kind of list price, when they first came out they were like 100k over. So anyone who's complaining that, oh, we can't get a hold of these cars, well, now's the time to go and buy them while the market is really soft. I absolutely love this car. It is the closest thing, like I said, that a car guy can get on four wheels to the motorcycle experience. If you can, it's your chance to own the last small mid-engine ICE Porsche. car that will make you smile like nothing else. Pre-touchscreen and screen obsession, so analog. Still with a key that you can plug in and turn, and just a balance of chassis and dynamics that is more enjoyable in the real world than even the 4RS. And imagine saying that, but it's true. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what that electric Boxster is going to be like. What I do know is between the GTS, the GT4, the 4RS, the Spyder and this Spyder RS, you have got no excuse not to pick up one of the best sports car series that the world has ever seen. They're all incredible, and to me the Spyder RS sits at the pinnacle as the car that harkens best back to Porsche's origins while bringing along all of the recent amazing GT and RS cars into one singular package that will make you smile like no other car that Porsche have ever made. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this full review of my beautiful Spyder RS. If you have, please do like and subscribe to RBR, and I'll see you guys next time.